following manner. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, due to the, notice of the meeting was given in the following manner. A notice of the meeting was filed in advance notice with the Office of City Clerk, public advertisement with sufficient notice herein to the Home News and Tribune, and a notice was publicly posted on the authority website. During the meeting, participants, including members of the public, may be muted by the host. However, there will be an opportunity for them to participate and speak during the public portion of the meeting, where participants will be unmuted at their request. Ready for the roll?
Ready for the roll.
Commissioner Caldwell is not here. Commissioner Walde. Yurgo, you're on mute.
I see him.
I see him too. We'll come back. Commissioner Giorgiani.
Yes, here.
Commissioner Cepeda.
Here.
Commissioner Dunlap. Commissioner Dunlap? I do not see them. Commissioner Wright
Here.
and Commissioner Medina Hernandez. Commissioner Medina Hernandez, you're on mute.
Yep, I see her as well.
I see her too.
Let's get her and Walde off mute.
Okay. Chair, you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance while they're getting off mute?
Let's do the pledge.
Okay. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I see Commissioner Medina Hernandez raised her hand, but then you can hear us, Commissioner Medina Hernandez? Hopefully. How about Commissioner Walde? Can you hear us? 1, 2,
Able to type in?
3. You still have 4 on the call right now actively, so
Okay.
you can proceed, Chair.
I think Commissioner Walde jumped off, John.
Okay. You still have 4. So you can proceed.
All right, let's proceed.
Chair, you want to go from this agenda or you want to deviate for any comments first?
Yeah, let's do public comments first.
If you can raise your hand to be recognized for the public comment portion. Oh, yes, Danielle. Daniel Moore, you're on mute. We just lost Danielle.
Okay.
Okay, when they come back on.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, here you go. Oh, yes, go ahead, Danielle.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can hear you clear.
Okay, well, my first comment, we're talking about the Sears complex over there, the units over there. That's what is this comment we're able to comment on now?
Yep, it's open to public comment.
Well, okay, one thing I would first like to start off as, due to where being at the last planning board meeting, due to where New Brunswick Board of Education lawyer made an announcement and came to the planning board, wow, that they have to expand the New Brunswick High School. My question was, why do you have to do an expansion to New Brunswick High School? And wow, I give him an A+, because he said, wow, because it's jam-packed. So enough with all these apartment units due to where our schools are overpopulated already. You're not doing any affordable housing. You have so many homeless people now. And I will speak after, due to where a person who's on disability and getting my last bill with PSE&G for just $300 to one person in a household. Wow, how many, pray you don't have plenty more people who are homeless and can't afford to pay for everything. Due to where enough with these luxury apartments. Come on, make some affordable housing for New Brunswick. And like I said, wow, we don't need all these apartment complexes due to where this one with Sears, another big one with Jersey Avenue. Then another one on French Street they're building now over by towards the graveyard. Enough is enough, especially if it's not affordable, but enough is enough due to where New Brunswick is overpopulated already. To see 650 kids graduate from New Brunswick High School, 12th grade alone. Come on, that was never like that. A graduation was basically possibly 150 kids, but 650, and now they have to add on to the New Brunswick High School on 27 due to where it's jam-packed. Enough with these apartment complexes. Come on, start putting money towards helping people homelessness due to where what Code Blue is not right, due to where plenty things that to think about due to where I also just mentioned to the county. So many residents now, what due to where by 125 Patterson Street with our ambulance, due to where come on, you're gonna need more of those due to where that's not just New Brunswick, that's county. Come on, but being overpopulated, wow, shouldn't take no 25 minutes for an ambulance to come, but due to where the ambulance work for county, Highland Park, North Brunswick, other townships, due to which shows how New Brunswick is overpopulated, where first responders can't even keep up with the calls of New Brunswick being overpopulated. Enough with all this construction. Like I said, I'm disappointed with, especially in certain areas, due to where causing all these rodents as well. Like I mentioned before, come on, with all these rats and all coming up, digging up the ground. Enough with all this construction, especially like I said, with these apartments due to where, wow, it felt good to hear him say the truth. The schools are overpopulated. We have no more room. And like I said, due to a lot of them aren't affordable housing, due to where mostly a lot of them aren't even being filled up, due to where I will say, even if you can afford an apartment, for example, 1650 for when I did Hamilton Street. Oh, if I can afford it, I can afford the $1,650, but ooh, just to qualify to get an apartment, ooh, you had to make $72,000. A lot of people does not make that amount of money with these type of apartments that you're building. And believe me, that's what happened with Fulton Gardens, the Hampton Clubs, where
Chair.
due to where they were all supposed to
Are
be
we on time, John?
Yeah, your time. I'm
And-
sorry, Mr. Moore, if you could finish up.
and okay, due to where it all wind up being rental, make affordable where, come on, this is not necessary.
I think Danielle, that you raised a lot of very good concerns from a very good place, particularly with ambulance services, particularly with resources educationally. Those things fall outside of our purview. We do have some affordable units, I believe, coming up, John, in that Jersey Ave development. Is that not correct? We got 66 affordable units as part of that.
Correct, and that's separate development. Yes, sir.
And that separate development as well. So we're moving forward as a city and keeping all of our residents in mind. And I hope that you will continue to champion the good fight and bring these things to the front for us to consider. But a couple of those items just aren't something that are within our scope to act upon. But thank you for the comment. Who's next up?
9697, phone 9697.
Yes, good evening, Charlie Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. Take this opportunity to again speak against this extreme gentrification project. Obviously, we need to do something with the former Sears, but a massive development that includes 0 affordable units and no public transportation is a mistake that takes our city in the wrong direction. And I'm asking each and every one of you to reject this project today when it comes up for a vote. I do know there were multiple votes last year on this project, and I know that a couple of commissioners changed their vote without explaining why they changed it. So I just wanted to give a chance for Commissioners Wolde and Medina Hernandez, if you could, tell us why you changed to support the project.
That's something you feel as though you want to address, commissioners?
No, I'm not going to respond to that.
No response? Okay, that's perfectly fine. Anything else, Charlie?
Yeah, I also, want to express I'm disappointed in Commissioner Cepeda. I know we had talked about the project, and she ultimately voted for it without any explanation. So I did want to give her the chance through you, Mr. Chair. Could Ms. Cepeda tell us why she supported the project?
I do support the project. After viewing all the facts, I thought it would be the right thing to do. So thank you.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay. Well, thanks for answering my question. I will note the developer was sloppy and this board rushed to approve it. That's why they have to come back to you now after they discovered that there's a gas main in the way of what they want to build, and they need to adjust the project. So I hope that those of you on the call today will consider my thoughts and ultimately reject it. Can I ask, has Russo Development paid the $1.08 million to support affordable housing?
I don't think that's within the scope of the public comment, but you can always email John. I know he's been pretty dutiful on getting back to you with anything that is public information.
I don't understand why that's not a reasonable question to ask here. The developer promised last summer to make a $1.08 million payment to this authority. Has it been received or not?
It's not that it's not unreasonable. I believe that what we're doing here is hearing what the community thinks about the direction that the city should be going in order to take it into consideration for future votes. However, the specifics in terms of those types of questions, while not being guarded information, just really aren't the topic of conversation right now. And I know John would be happy to get that info back to you.
Okay, well, it's a simple yes or no question, and this is my time to bring it forth. Let the record reflect that no answer was provided. Can I ask who was unable to attend the January meeting of the board?
Again, not within the scope of what we're doing right now. Charlie, do you got any other comments with reference to what we got going on?
Sir. I do. So you canceled your January meeting. You canceled your December meeting. You've canceled a slew of these other meetings. The meeting schedule is selected by you. And you've chosen to have the meetings in a Zoom format where anywhere you are in the world, if you can get on the internet on a device, you can join the meeting. So I'm struggling. I'm perplexed. It is confusing to me how you could schedule a meeting and then not get a quorum of 4 board members to be able to attend the meeting. So I'm asking, Mr. Chair, did anybody notify you that they were unable to attend the January meeting? Who was unable to attend?
I think that's an interesting enough question. And yes, I was notified by folks that could not attend. And you're right, with Zoom, it does make it increasingly easy for us to attend. So you'd have to consider what exactly would keep somebody from attending if we can do it by Zoom. Folks had legitimate emergencies, folks had legitimate circumstances inside of what they had going on, and nobody can predict when that happens. So we had to cancel the meeting. We are human and life does go on. Do you have any comments related to what we got going?
Chair, you're up on the 3-minute amount, so if Mr. Cradaville could finish.
Yeah.
Well, if I may, I believe your bylaws say that I get 5 minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's just giving me the 2-minute warning if you're a
I see. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for the warning. Yeah, I'm continuing to be perplexed. I hope that attendance will improve and that no more meetings will have to be canceled. Reviewing your website, I noticed the 2022 budget is still not on the website. It's February 2023. I wanted to ask when that will be posted, when that'll be completed.
You got a timeline for that, John?
Chair, yeah. Charlie, as soon as we get it back from the state, it'll probably be March 15th.
Okay. And the Hoffman Pavilion project, this was the senior building that was torn down in 2010 and has not yet been rebuilt. I notice your website says that it's, quote, under construction. I don't think that's accurate. Can you tell me what the timeline is for it to be constructed? When might ground break on that project finally?
Chair, you okay with?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah, Charlie, the finance closing is scheduled to occur before the end of this year, and we hope to break ground in the winter of 23.
This winter. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. It's a long time coming, obviously. And also on your website, the redevelopment section doesn't really have much of anything. There's no redevelopment plans, no redevelopment projects, no information about the agreements that you're making with redevelopers. And I know you do a fair amount of it. You've got a lot of projects in the works, but if I go to your website, I wouldn't know it because none of that stuff is available. So I think that, the website's overdue for an overhaul and an update, and you should really include information about redevelopment, since that's one of the major things this agency does. The plans should be available without filing an OPRA request. The agreements that you have should be available without filing an OPRA request, and that would be the best place to put it. So I would, respectfully ask you to do that. And, finally, I'll just close by one more time saying we need affordable housing. We have a housing crisis. We have hundreds of people with no home at all, and we have seen huge increases in rent. So building a huge project that's going to provide 0 affordable units is not going to help. It's actually going to drive up costs for low and moderate income families. And I'm disappointed that the project was approved under a shady circumstance last summer. Of course, you had your own attorney telling you that it was already approved at the prior meeting when he should know better. The vote failed in June and then failed again. And then you called that special July meeting to hold that, basically to ram that through at the last minute. And it was rushed. It was wrong. It doesn't appear that the board members with us today are going to oppose it, but let the record reflect that New Brunswick needs affordable housing, and it's a huge mistake not to include public transportation. This is going to make it an exclusive enclave for the rich, and we need to make New Brunswick inclusive for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair, April, is it April Nicholas?
Nicklaus.
Nicholas. Hi, April. Yes, go ahead.
Great, thank you. Yes, April Nicklaus, I live on Sedam Street. I'm just trying to get a better sense of what the full scope of activities of the Housing Authority are and have a few basic questions. So hopefully I can leave with some answers. It's about the variety of community programs that are listed on the website. So first question is the scholarship program that's listed on the website. Is that still an active program that the authority is running?
April, I'm not sure what website you're looking at. So there's our main website, and then
the New Brunswick Housing and Redevelopment Authority website.
That might be an old website. So if you give me your email, or if I can give you my email offline, or if you stay on, I can give you, because there's some old websites out there. Our new website doesn't have that listed. But,
okay.
And I'd be happy to answer questions. This is more public comment.
Sure. I think that would be probably a good idea to look into getting the old websites taken down or rerouted to whatever the new website is.
It should route to our current website. So if you do a Google search and go to our actual address location, it'll connect you there. But if you just go in a general Google search, whatever comes up may come up. But go ahead. Again, I don't want to interrupt you.
So I'm just trying to find this this new, is it New Brunswick Housing? Is that the new website? Or I'm just trying to understand what the information is that is available to the public online.
Chair, if maybe I can connect with April offline to have that to go through her questions. Would that be better for the board?
Yeah.
Okay, April, if you could stay on after, and I'll get you my information so we can connect.
Sure, and I can certainly leave my email address for you to follow up.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So in terms of just general commentary on the direction that I would hope the board would take in the future, from my past review of recordings from these meetings, and just generally trying to keep up with what this board is working on, it seems like most of the focus is on development of new and usually higher income projects. And my thinking is that a housing authority is primarily supposed to be focused on lower income housing and affordable housing, and ensuring that folks on the lower income spectrum have good support and options to maintain quality of life in our city. So that's just something that I wanted to raise here, that I think the board really should be spending more time and energy working on projects to help our lower income residents, as opposed to focusing on higher end redevelopment projects.
Fantastic. Was that all that you wanted to speak on?
Yeah, I mean, all of my questions were related to information that I guess is not up to date. So I'll have to take a look at.
No, do me a
information
favor,
that's-
follow up with John, because again, he's really good about getting that sort of information back. And I'm certain you understand, I've looked up things on Rutgers website and come across old pages, they just don't get taken down. They'll exist on the server for some, period of time. I have a picture that's out there that I hate for this particular board, and it's still out there, and it didn't get taken down. That sort of thing happens, but nobody's hiding any information from you. Call John, email John, you'll get it. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, April, just stay on at the end of the meeting and I'll give you my information. We'll connect.
Sure.
Chair, those are all the questions.
Those are all the questions. All right, well, let's move forward then.
You want to go into minutes?
Going to we have a handful of different minutes to address, correct?
Correct. So there's a special meeting from June 29th, minutes. Commissioner Giorgiani and Commissioner Cepeda, you need to abstain. You were not in attendance. You need a motion and a second for approval.
Got a motion?
Move.
Second?
Second,
All right,
Ready for the vote?
ready for the vote.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes,
and that's it. Those are the two abstained. There was a special meeting on July 7th. Commissioner Wright, you need to abstain.
correct.
You need a motion and a second for those minutes?
Have a
I'll
motion?
make a motion. to approve.
Commissioner Giorgiani made a motion.
Second,
Second, that's Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Cepeda.
Cepeda, I'm sorry. I couldn't
No,
see.
no, you're good. No worries.
Ready for the vote, Chair?
Ready.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes,
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes,
and Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes,
There's a resolution for the annual meeting on July 27th. Commissioners Walde and Giorgiani were not in attendance, and Commissioner Dunlap, but he's not on, so unless he came on, I don't see him now. You need a motion and second?
Have a motion?
motion, move,
Second?
That's Commissioner Medina?
yes,
Okay, Hernandez, okay. You need a second? It could be either yourself or Commissioner Cepeda.
second. Oh, second.
Okay. Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes,
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
and Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
yes,
Also, the regular meeting on July 27th, Commissioners Walde and Giorgiani were similarly not in attendance in that meeting. So again, same thing. You need them, they would have to abstain.
motion,
That was Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Cepeda. Sorry.
Cepeda, I'm sorry. I
we
keep-
sound
No
much
worries.
alike.
I'm
Second.
sorry, I'm
We
looking
do.
down, trying to take the notes. All right, is there a
Second.
second? So, okay, that's Commissioner Medina Hernandez. You ready for the vote, Chair?
I'm ready.
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yeah,
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
and Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes,
And then lastly is the regular meeting from November 30th. Commissioner Cepeda, you need to abstain. You
Your
need a
motion?
motion and second?
You have a motion?
Move.
I'll make a motion.
second,
Oh.
I'll
Sec-
second then.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got
Okay.
Giorgiani seconding.
that's fine,
Ready for the vote, Chair?
Ready.
Mr. Walde,
Yes.
Mr. Giorgiani,
Yes,
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
and Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
yes,
Okay. Chair, would you like to go right into the resolutions?
Go right into them.
All right. Resolution number 1 is a resolution ratifying, adopting, and approving the 2023 meeting schedule for the New Brunswick Housing Authority.
Right. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll
That's it.
second,
All right. That was Commissioner Medina Hernandez, right?
yes.
correct.
Okay. Yes, okay. Ready? You ready, Chair?
Yeah, I have a,
Oh, sure.
have a
Go ahead,
question.
Commissioner.
yeah. I've gone through all the resolutions. Are the number of units corrected and amended? You know, there were some discrepancies.
Oh, no, we're only on the minutes,
No.
right? We're only on the meeting dates right now, Yurgo. We're not on the other meeting.
Oh, okay.
We're not,
okay.
yeah, we didn't get to the redevelopment items yet.
Oh, okay.
So just on the chair call the vote on the meeting dates. Right?
Oh, those are the meeting dates. Okay.
Yeah. Commissioner Walde on the meeting dates only.
Yeah. Okay.
Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
yes,
and Chair.
Yes.
Okay. We'll start off with resolution 2.
Sorry.
That's okay. You want me to read the resolution, take an action, and then open it up, Chair?
Yep.
All right, resolution number 2 is a resolution approving amendment to redevelopment agreement between RTF NB Urban Renewal LLC as redeveloper and Housing Authority of the City of New Brunswick for property now known as Block 707.04, lots 7.05, 7.06, 7.08, 7.10, 7.11, and 7.12, formerly known as portion of Block 710, lots 7.02, 7.03, and 7.04, and Block 707.01, lots 35.13 on the New Brunswick tax map for the construction of a residential and commercial project located in the Sears redevelopment plan area. You need a motion and a second before we open it, Chair.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Oh, no. Was there a second?
Giorgiani,
Giorgiani, we got you on the move. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Cepeda. We have John Hoffman, Special Counsel for the Redevelopment Authority here to introduce.
There are 3 resolutions which relate to the Sears project, the Russo project on the Sears property. This is the first resolution, and it's an amendment to the redevelopment agreement. The amendment is due to the fact that the redeveloper, during its pre-construction activities, discovered certain utilities which required a revised layout. The result was that the townhouses in phase 1B have been reduced by 4 units to 186 units from the 190 which were previously approved by you. The mixed-use apartments in phase 1A have been increased by 4 units from 368 units to 272 units. The revised concept plan, which reflects those changes, have been filed and are requested to be approved. Everything else is the same in the agreement. The project timing is the same. In fact, I think as was commented, the Sears building is beginning or is in the process of being demolished, and the completion date for the project is the same to December 31st, 2027. So this amendment just deals with the transfer of 4 units from the townhouses to the apartments. And Catherine Coffey is here from the representing the developer, and I'm not sure, Captain Gateway, you want to make a presentation on this one, or you want to answer any questions, but she's here.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. And if it pleases the chair, I'm happy to make a couple of comments on this one, just to explain a bit better what's happening. Is that acceptable, Mr. Chairman?
It is. Please do.
Thank you. So good evening, everybody. I am Catherine Coffey from Dave Pitney. I represent RTF NB Urban Renewal LLC, which is the designated redeveloper of the former Sears site. As was indicated, the parcels that we're talking about, which comprise the former Sears site, are block 707.04, lots 7.05, 7.06, 7.07, 7.08, 7.09, 7.10, 7.11, and 7.12. The applicant received preliminary and final subdivision and site plan approval originally from the New Brunswick Planning Board on July 11th, 2022. And we returned to the New Brunswick Planning Board in January of this year and have received approval for amendments to the site plan, which Mr. Hoffman previewed to you. And that approval was memorialized by the Planning Board on February 6, 2023. As Mr. Hoffman indicated, the reason for the changes to the plan are, once we had our site plan approval in the summer, at that point, PSE&G indicated it would be willing to come out and work with us on our pre-construction planning. And at that point, we learned that there is quite a large gas main that's traversing the property from Labor Center Way to Clifton Avenue, which required us to reconfigure the plan for the property a bit. So what is changing is we have reconfigured some of the lots to slightly adjust their acreage. I will give you the figures. So lot 7.10 had previously been approved to be 7.88 acres. It's now 7.55 acres. Lot 7.05 had been approved to be 9.07 acres. It's now been approved to be 8.74 acres. Lot 712 was previously approved at 5.05 acres, and it's now at 6.03 acres. Lot 711 was previously approved at 6.61 acres, and it's now at 6.31 acres. Lot 7.08 had a big change. It was previously approved at 1.01 acre, and it is now 1 acre flat. Lot 7.07 went from 1.55 acres to 1.52 acres. There is no change to lot 7.06 or 7.09. As Mr. Hoffman previewed to you, the plan that's been approved to accommodate this change is relocating buildings A and B, which are the multifamily buildings, as well as townhome buildings 13, 14, and 15, and the internal roadway between the buildings to be a bit closer to Route 1, so as to avoid that gas main. Townhome building 16 has been eliminated because it was squarely in the path of the gas main. And then we've modified the unit count, also as Mr. Hoffman previewed to you. So we've added 2 townhome units to each of townhome buildings 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, and 12. And we've shifted 2 townhome units from building 11 to 12. So the result of this reconfiguration of the townhomes is a reduction in the total number of townhomes by 4. At the same time, we've increased the number of units within multifamily building A from 268 multifamily units to 272 multifamily units. There was a slight reduction in the retail square footage for mixed use building B, as in boy. It's gone from 11,133 square feet to 10,625 square feet. We also modified the parking counts. So for townhomes, what was required by the redevelopment plan was 233 spaces. Originally proposed was 492 spaces, and most recently approved by the planning board is 487 spaces. So still well in excess of the requirement. For the retail and restaurant space associated with the mixed use buildings, 85 parking spaces were required. Originally 230 spaces were approved, and now 195 spaces have been approved. So again, well in excess of the requirements. And then the parking for the residential portions of buildings A and B, as well as buildings C, F, G, and H, all remain unchanged. The phasing for the project also remains unchanged. And I would just note that there was a buffer that had been required by the redevelopment plan and that the applicant had promised to provide when it was before the housing authority in the summer, as well as before the planning board in the summer, and that buffer is remaining in place as part of these changes. I know there was a question from a member of the public regarding the affordable housing payment. That is a requirement of the financial agreement that's in effect for this project. That is a requirement that a payment of $1,500 per residential unit be made, as the number of units is not changing, that the total amount to be paid by the redeveloper also is not changing as a result of this reconfiguration that's being proposed. And just with respect to the timing of those payments per the financial agreement, those payments are not required to start to be made until a building permit has been issued in connection with the residential unit. So they are not due yet, but they remain an obligation of the redeveloper and the redeveloper remains committed to making it. With respect to the amendment to the redevelopment agreement, it's really to memorialize the changes to the plan that have been approved by your planning board at this point, but to make sure that the agreement is accurately reflecting what is expected to be built on the property. As we said, there's no changes proposed to the timing of the project and no changes to the total number of residential units being proposed. I do have on the Zoom with me this evening, Chris Erb, who is the Executive Vice President and Head of Development for Russo Development. And he and I are happy to answer any questions you may have with respect to the proposed amendment to the redevelopment agreement.
Any questions from the board? Baldy?
Yeah. The resolutions a month ago or 2 months ago, they had some discrepancies. I know Mr. John Hoffman has made the changes, you know.
Yeah, I made the changes.
Yeah. Now, I have another question. Did you say 233 parking went up to 487? Unless I didn't heard you.
Let me repeat that for you. So 233 spaces for the townhomes are required by the redevelopment plan. Originally approved back in the summertime was 492 units, and that has now been reduced to 487 spaces. So we're still providing more than double what's required. And it's a total reduction in the number of spaces as compared to what was approved in July to now of 5 parking spaces.
Okay. The other question I have is on the redevelopment agreement. Do you have Title III? Are you abiding by Title III in order to hire local people during construction?
So the redevelopment agreement does have requirements with respect to endeavoring to hire local folks as well as union folks.
Yeah, section 3, not Title 3. Sorry.
Section 3, I'm sorry.
Correction.
Section
Yes, and we are in communication on that. Yes.
Well, let me
Okay.
clarify, the redevelopment agreement, except for the change in the number of units, it did not change. It's still the same basic redevelopment agreement. The only change really is the townhouse units are reduced and the apartment units are increased by the 4 units.
Those didn't change the square footage on the units, right? The same square footage?
Yes.
Okay. Those are my questions.
Thank you.
No.
Any other questions from the board? Okay,
Call the vote.
call a vote.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
and Chair.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 3 is a resolution approving assignment of portion of redevelopment project and redevelopment agreement relating to the portion of PHM New Brunswick, New Jersey Development Urban Renewal LLC on property known as Block 707.04, Lot 11 and Lot 12 for construction of 186 for sale townhomes on the property located on the Sears redevelopment plan area. You need a motion and a second to open?
We
I'll make
have
a
a motion.
motion. I'll
Okay.
second.
Chair, you move the motion?
I move.
Okay, and
I'll
Georgiana,
second.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes, this second resolution deals with the assignment of the townhouse portion, the 186 townhouses to PHM New Brunswick, New Jersey Development Urban Renewal LLC, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Pulte Homes. Article 4 and Section 405 of the redevelopment agreement deal with the assignment of a portion of the redevelopment agreement, and it's required for the consent of the Housing Authority. The Housing Authority is needed to ensure that the transferee has both the qualifications and fiscal responsibility to be able to build this portion of the project. This resolution approves the transfer of the townhouses to a Pulte Home wholly owned subsidiary, which will assume all of the obligations of the redeveloper with regard to the townhouse project. Submitted to the authority was a description of Pulte Homes, which is one of the largest for sale home builders in the country. It has built and delivered over 750,000 homes nationwide in 40 different cities. It has, in Central Jersey, has recently built 118 townhouses in Union, 156 townhouses in Somerville, 83 townhouses in Highland Park, 49 townhouses in the Highlands, and a 4-story townhouses on Route 1 in North Brunswick. So it definitely has the qualifications to construct the townhouses. As to financing, Pulte will fund the townhouses from its own working capital. It does not require any third party or bank financing. In 2021, Pulte had $13.4 billion in revenues and over $2.5 billion in net income. So it definitely has the financial capability to construct the project. Pulte will assume all of the obligations and liabilities for the townhouse project, which is phase 1B, and is obligated to complete the project by the same time, that being in December of 2017. And Kate, I'll turn this over to you if you want to add anything.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Well, you took a lot of the words right out of my mouth. So I appreciate that. I guess I'll just add, as Mr. Hoffman indicated, this is with regard to what's known as phase 1B in the redevelopment agreement, which is the townhome portion of the redevelopment project, which is to be built on lots 7.11 and 7.12. The proposed assignee is PHM New Brunswick, New Jersey Development Urban Renewal LLC, which, as Mr. Hoffman indicated, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Pulte Group, Inc. Mr. Hoffman gave you a synopsis of Pulte's experience building townhomes in New Jersey, as well as in the Northeast Corridor, and examples of some of its current projects that it has completed. As Mr. Hoffman also indicated, Pulte has committed to honor the construction schedule that is in the redevelopment agreement that was previously entered into. Specifically, they've indicated that they anticipate commencing vertical construction by the end of June of this year. And they anticipate that all construction will be substantially completed by the end of 2027, which again is consistent with what's already in the redevelopment agreement. And they've agreed to abide by all of the other terms of the redevelopment agreement as well with respect to this phase. And also, as Mr. Hoffman indicated, Pulte is well-financed and anticipates that it will be financing this project via its working capital. Pulte is among the largest for-sale home builders, both in terms of market share and revenue, and so has the experience, the qualifications, and the funding necessary to take on this portion of the redevelopment project. I do have with me on the line Jim Mullen, who is the Director of Land Entitlements for the Northeast Corridor Division of Pulte. He and I are happy to respond to any questions that you may have with respect to the proposed assignment or Pulte.
Questions from the board?
Yeah, I forgot one question on the parking. Is the parking space distributed or is it on one side?
It's
You have about 82 parking spaces, I think.
So it's distributed throughout the redevelopment project. So for example, for each of the townhome units, which we were speaking about before, Commissioner Walde, there are parking spaces that are immediately adjacent to each townhome unit. In addition to guest parking, there's parking in the associated with the multifamily buildings, and then there's additional parking fields for the non-residential buildings. So it's really throughout the site.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
No other questions?
That's what I have.
Full vote, Chair?
Full vote.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes.
All right, resolution number 4 is a resolution approving partial assignment and assumption of redevelopment agreement for Phase 1A of redevelopment project to RTF NBA Urban Renewal LLC, a related entity of redeveloper consisting of a mixed-use building with approximately 272 residential units, indoor and outdoor amenities, and retail space on block 707.04, lot 7.10, located in Sears redevelopment plan area. Chair, you need a motion and a second.
Motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes, the third resolution is a partial assignment and assumption of Phase 1A of the project, which consists of 272 units, indoor and outdoor amenities and retail space, to a related entity of the redeveloper. The related entity is controlled by Russo, which was the redeveloper of the project. It's being done, my understanding, primarily for financing purposes, and the new entity will assume all the obligations in connection with the construction of Phase 1. Again, the construction timing will remain the same, and the new entity will assume both obligations and liability of the redeveloper for the Phase 1 project. So it's really another related entity of the redeveloper of Russo, and it's done primarily for financing purposes. And I'll turn it over to Kate Coffey.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. And again, you've summarized it really very well. So what's being requested is the current redeveloper, which is RTF NB Urban Renewal LLC, is proposing to assign Phase 1A, which is the multifamily building or the mixed use multifamily building A, to a new entity known as RTF NB Urban Renewal A LLC. The entity has identical ownership to the redeveloper entity that was previously approved by the authority in the summer. And the purpose for creating a separate entity, as Mr. Hoffman indicated, is so that this phase can get its own financing separate from the remainder of the redevelopment project. Also, as Mr. Hoffman indicated, the proposed assignee would again be assuming all of the applicable obligations under the redevelopment agreement with respect to this phase, with no changes to the terms to the redevelopment agreement. I'm happy to respond to any questions you might have, and Mr. Erb from Russo Development remains with us on the Zoom if you have any questions.
The restructuring you said was prompted by financing around RTFNB Urban Renewal before being moved to RTF Urban Renewal LLC. Can you speak specifically to the financial reasons for establishing the new LLC in order to move this forward and then assign?
Sure. So the expectation is that some of the phases will have potentially different financing or different lenders. And so just as we subdivided out the redevelopment project, there are different entities that would be responsible to the lender for the financing for that phasing. And so by having separate assignees or separate redevelopers for each of those phases, in addition to separate lots, it enables us to have distinct lenders for different portions of the project.
Okay.
And
you said identical membership across the LLC, so identical members, got it.
Same members, same percentage ownership, which I didn't say before, but is accurate as well. So it's identical both with respect to ownership and with respect to the allocation of ownership between the members. It's just so that the bank can have a separate entity to deal with.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, one more question. Do you have an idea for the sale price of the sale units?
Oh, what the for sale, the townhomes are going to be sold for?
Units, yeah.
I apologize. Commissioner Walde, I don't have that figure, and I think Mr. Mullen has logged off for the evening since we concluded that that agenda item. So I'm afraid I don't have that information, but I'm happy to provide it to Mr. Clark after the meeting and have him share it with you.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
I do have one question. Just because so since they're moving it over to the new entity, have they like confirmed that they secured the financing? Or are we waiting until after this motion?
So we need your approval. We are seeking your approval before we close because the lender wants to make sure that it's acceptable to the housing authority.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you.
Say do the have public first and to not on resolutions.
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear that.
John,
I couldn't hear
see
that.
where that's coming from.
Very,
I think that's coming from Miss Moore, but Kate, you have control. I gave you
Oh,
made you host.
I don't.
Oh,
You may need to
it's
take
also
back
Miss Moore.
control. I don't know what to do with that, Mr. Clark. It's too much
Yeah.
power.
No problem. Chair. Oh, it looks like she's back on, but yeah, it sounded like it came from Miss Moore. I didn't hear the question, but I'm not sure it was open for questions, but
It was breaking up on my end, but you know, if it was something reasonable. Okay.
Call the vote.
Did very, have public comment first, and then you announcement do for what's being spoken. I haven't seen that happen before for you to have public comment and then we can't ask questions on resolutions. You should have had the public comment last.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay, so, you know, and I'll take 10 seconds for this. Historically, we place public comment at the end. Is that not right, John?
it's really at the pleasure of the chair, but yes, in most cases it has been. I know other chair people did put it at the beginning.
And this is a pleasurable experience to me. So we used to put it at the end and now we had it at the front because there was some requests to have it at the front. So people have the opportunity to air any particular concerns they have about things that they were voting on, but you can't please everybody all the time. So, you know, apologies if it didn't come across in a way that was to your liking, but the effort was made in order to get your vote heard before we spoke about these things, as opposed to after the vote. That having been said, are there any other questions from the board?
Call the vote, Chair.
Let's call this vote.
Okay, Commissioner Walde,
yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yeah.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 5 is a resolution ratifying, authorizing, and approving the payments of bills for the months of.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank you
everyone.
very
I'm
much. We
sorry.
appreciate all your
Yep,
help.
thanks, guys. For
Take
the
care, everyone.
months of November and December 2022.
Move.
I'm sorry,
Second.
Chair, you moved it?
I move.
And Commissioner Cepeda?
Second, yes.
Okay, I got that one.
Thank you.
Call the vote, Chair.
Your vote.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
and Chair.
Yes.
Resolution number 6 is resolution ratifying, authorizing, and approving the appointment of John Clark as Fund Commissioner for the New Jersey Housing Authority Joint Insurance Fund 2023.
Move.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, who moved?
Me.
Walde.
Wally, okay. And Giorgiani seconded.
Correct.
Board, as you, Chair, as you know, we are a part of a joint insurance fund, which means we're self-insured, which requires that we make an appointment of a person to represent as part of that component. And this is an annual representation as part of the joint insurance fund. And it's done annually.
Take the vote.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
and Chair.
Yes.
Chair, just a point of information before we leave for the adjournment. I did send out the audit for everyone. Please take a look. That will be an action item at the March meeting. And I do need live signatures. I can't do, it can't be scanned signatures. So once you have taken a look, just shoot me a note. I'll set up a time for you to be able to come by. There's a little affidavit that you have to sign for that, and I'll have it set up with either myself or Kamini, who's here in the office, so you can sign that once you do have a chance to take a look at it.
Well, is it going to be part of next month's resolution?
Correct. It will be part of next
So
month's
it should
resolution.
be
So
after the meeting then.
absolutely, yeah. But I did want to let
Yeah.
you know, I know in the past during COVID, we were able to do the scanned emailed copies. We need the live signatures now. So please take a look, go through the audit if you have any questions. And then after the action in March, we will
Oh,
need you
okay.
to come in.
All right.
Yeah, we'll need
Yeah.
you to come in to sign it.
Okay.
And Chair, that's all I had.
All right.
You just did a
Maybe,
motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
Commissioner Cepeda, you moved?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Walde seconded. Ready for the vote?
Ready?
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
and Chair.
Yes.
Okay.
Chair.
April, where are you?